right, welcome back. As always, don't forget, listen for your favorite verse. Go ahead and comment it below when you hear it. And don't forget to like and subscribe as well. I have some exciting projects coming up after this, so don't forget to subscribe so that you won't miss them. All right, let's get started with Proverbs 26. As snow in summer and rain in harvest, so honor is not fitting for a fool. Like a flitting sparrow, like a flying swallow, so a curse without cause shall not alight. A whip for the horse, a bridle for the donkey, and a rod for the fool's back. Do not answer a fool according to his folly, lest you also be like him. Answer a fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own eyes. He who sends a message by the hand of a fool cuts off his own feet and drinks violence. Like the legs of a lame that hang limp, so is a proverb in the mouth of fools. Like one who binds a stone in a sling is like one who gives honor to a fool. Like a thorn that goes into the hand of a drunkard is a proverb in the mouths of fools. The great God who formed everything gives the fool his hire and the transgressor his wages. As a dog returns to his own vomit, so a fool repeats his folly. Do you see a man wise in his own eyes? There is more hope for a fool than for him. The lazy man says there is a lion in the road, a fierce lion is in the streets. As a door turns on his hinges, so does a lazy man on his bed. The lazy man buries his hand in the bowl. It wearies him to bring it back to his mouth. The lazy man is wiser in his own eyes than 7 men who can answer sensibly. He who passes by and meddles in a quarrel not his own is like one who takes a dog by the ears. Like a madman who throws firebrands, arrows, and death is the man who deceives his neighbor and says, I was only joking. Where there is no wood, the fire goes out. And where there is no talebearer, strife ceases. As charcoal is to the burning coals, and wood is to fire, so is a contentious man to kindle strife. The words of a talebearer are like tasty trifles. They go down into the inmost body. Fervent lips with a wicked heart are like earthenware covered with silver dross. He who hates disguises it with his lips, and lays up deceit within himself. When he speaks kindly, do not believe it, for there are 7 abominations in his heart. Though his hatred is covered by deceit, his wickedness will be revealed before the assembly. Whoever digs a pit will fall into it, and he who rolls a stone will have it roll back on him. A lying tongue hates those who are crushed by it, and a flattering mouth worketh ruin. Proverbs 26. Let's look at verse 2, an interesting one. You know, a curse has to have some sort of legal right for it to land upon you. You have to give the enemy some sort of opening for that to land. And verse 2 says, like a flitting sparrow, like a flying swallow, so a curse without cause shall not alight. So if we're right with the Lord, and if we have our spiritual armor on, then people can hurl all sorts of curses at us, and they won't alight unless there's a cause. So let's always be examining ourselves to make sure that there's not a cause for which a curse could alight, as this verse says. So I really appreciate verse 3 to 12, where it really hits the fool head on, beginning with a whip for the horse, a bridle for the donkey, and a rod for the fool's back. You can tell that Solomon really doesn't like fools. But what I really appreciate is verse 4, where it says, do not answer a fool according to his folly, lest you be like him. And then it says, lest he be wise in his own eyes. It's so important that when you have a fool who is trying to pick a proverbial fight, trying to get into a debate, trying to poke you, trying to prod you, trying to get a rise from you, if you answer him in his folly, you'll be like him. You don't stoop to their level. You don't have to answer him in his folly. You can walk away, or you can answer him in wisdom. But what's interesting is then the next verse, verse 5, it says, lest he be wise in his own eyes. If you answer a fool in his folly, you'll be like him, and then it elevates him to the point above you where he becomes wise in his own eyes. Like, I won that one. I got him to stoop to my level. I'm so much better. So you don't want to, A, be like him, and B, have him be wise in his own eyes. And then just a whole bunch of disses on fools here. And then you look at verse 12, where it says, do you see a man wise in his own eyes? There's more hope for a fool than for him. So let us always make sure that we're are not wise in our own eyes. We're wise in the Lord's eyes and other people's eyes, and not just wise in our own eyes, because how devastating that is. Proverbs hits that over and over and over again. So I was petting someone's dog the other day, and it had some sensitive ears, and I accidentally was rubbing its ears like I do with my own dog, and this dog yelped and cried, and I went, oh, sensitive ears. But when you look at verse 17, it says, he who passes by and meddles in a quarrel not his own is like one who takes a dog by the ears. It's like doing everything wrong, causing pain for everybody involved. And if you've ever touched a dog that has sensitive ears, or a dog that doesn't like to be touched by the ears, just magnify that and think about what it would be like grabbing a dog by its ears. It's horrible, it's cruel. And yet that's what happens if you walk by and you meddle in something that's not your own. If you're not part of this problem or part of the solution, then move on. And I'll go ahead and hit verse 22 while I'm here. The words of a talebearer are like tasty trifles, and they go down into the inmost body. We want to hear the gossip. We want to. Our flesh loves it. We want to go meddle. We want to go hear what's happening. But we don't need to. It's not our business. If we're not part of the problem and we're not part of the solution, then keep on walking. You don't need to take the proverbial dog by his proverbial ears. So the other night we had a hymn sing and a campfire, and it was a great night. And you know, once you get the fire started, which I'm an expert at because I'm an Eagle Scout, but when you get that fire going, you got to keep feeding it. You have to keep throwing wood on. Otherwise, it's just going to go out. And if you don't keep the coals going, the fire's just going to go out. And in the ancient world, where starting a fire wasn't as easy as grabbing a lighter and some paper, they would carry the coals around with them. And so when we look at verse 20 and 21, it says, where there is no wood, the fire goes out, and where there is no talebearer, the strife ceases. As charcoal is to burning coals, and wood to fire, so is a contentious man to kindle strife. So you take those burning coals, you throw some charcoal on, or you take a fire, you throw some extra wood on, and the contentious man is going to kindle strife, and the talebearer is going to create strife. That's why it's so important that when you have a family or a team, that you keep the contentious people out, because it's just going to keep the fire going. It's just going to keep it going. If you take them out, the fire is going to go out. If you don't keep adding wood to the fire, it's just going to go out. But if you keep adding fire, it's just going to keep on going. So you don't want gossipers in your midst, and you certainly don't want to be the gossiper either. I appreciate the second part of verse 28. A flattering mouth works ruin. Flattering is very clear to detect when someone is flattering. When someone isn't giving just a genuine compliment, but so over the top and flowery. You're so great, and da-da-da-da-da. A flattering mouth works ruin. It's not great. For one, it could cause pride. But for two, the person who's saying it doesn't necessarily mean it. They could just be trying to get something out of you, or so much better to give a genuine, solid compliment and not flatter. Because flattering is always awkward. When someone flatters you, it's really cringy. It's kind of weird. But like it says here, a flattering mouth works ruin. Go ahead and comment your favorite verse down below, and subscribe, like this video, share it. We only have a few days left, and hope you've enjoyed it. All these videos are in a playlist, so in future months you can just grab that playlist and watch it all the way through, all at once or every day. But I hope you'll do this again with me sometime and be back here for chapter 27 tomorrow.